Everyone's been to restaurants, stores, airlines, and theme parks without causing problems. Most people follow basic rules, act like reasonable humans, and leave without incident. Then there are these individuals who manage to get themselves permanently banned through acts of stupidity so profound that businesses decided they never wanted to see them again. 1. Someone got permanently banned from a luxury hotel after they decided to test the fire alarm system at 3 a.m. by pulling every single alarm on all 15 floors within 20 minutes. Their explanation was that they wanted to make sure the hotel took fire safety seriously and were just being a concerned guest. Hotel management was not impressed by this safety audit that evacuated 400 guests in the middle of the night, many standing outside in pajamas in freezing weather. Security footage showed them running from floor to floor, deliberately triggering alarms while wearing a bathrobe and looking extremely pleased with themselves. The lifetime ban came with a bill for emergency response, including 3 fire trucks, 2 ambulances, police presence, plus compensation for guests who checked out early. The letter explained that safety concerns should be reported to the front desk rather than tested through creating fake emergencies. 2. A customer received a permanent ban from a grocery store chain after they were caught repeatedly opening packages of cookies, eating one from each package, then carefully resealing the boxes and returning them to shelves. When confronted by security, they argued they were quality testing to help other customers make informed purchasing decisions and didn't understand why the store would object to this free service. They claimed they were doing the store a favor by ensuring quality. Store management disagreed and banned them after discovering they'd opened over 40 packages across multiple visits over several weeks. Security had been tracking them for days after customers complained about finding opened packages. The ban letter included photos from cameras showing them methodically working through the cookie aisle. 3. An airline passenger earned a lifetime flying ban after they refused to sit in their assigned seat and instead insisted on sitting in the cockpit because they wanted to see how flying worked and believed their ticket entitled them to choose any location on the aircraft. When flight attendants explained that passengers couldn't sit with pilots due to federal regulations, they argued they'd paid for a ticket and should sit anywhere they wanted. They claimed this was discrimination against curious passengers. The situation escalated when they tried pushing past crew members to reach the cockpit door, physically attempting to open it while shouting about their rights. This resulted in the flight being delayed 2 hours, police involvement at the gate, removal from the aircraft, and a permanent ban for attempting to access restricted areas and assaulting crew. The ban letter specified that federal regulations weren't negotiable. 4. Someone was banned for life from a theme park after they climbed out of a roller coaster while it was moving because they wanted better photos for their social media account and felt the standard ride experience wasn't giving them dramatic shots. Park officials were horrified when security footage showed them unbuckling their safety harness mid-ride, standing up while traveling at 50 mph, and taking selfies with one hand while holding the restraint bar with the other. Their explanation about creating content for followers didn't persuade management, especially after the incident caused an emergency stop, stranding dozens of passengers for 45 minutes. The ban letter included detailed safety violations, mention of potential criminal charges, and stated that social media content didn't justify risking lives. 5. A gym member received a permanent ban after they brought a full George Foreman grill to the gym and started cooking hamburgers in the locker room, filling the entire facility with smoke and the smell of grilled meat. When staff confronted them about the obvious fire hazard and health code violations, they explained they were maximizing efficiency by combining their workout with meal prep so they wouldn't waste time going home. They had set up the grill on a bench, brought a cooler full of raw meat and condiments, and were actively flipping burgers when discovered. The gym issued a lifetime ban after the grilling incident triggered the sprinkler system, soaking the entire locker room and damaging personal belongings of other members. The ban letter mentioned $15,000 in water damage to lockers and flooring. 6. A restaurant patron was permanently banned after they brought their own live lobster to a seafood restaurant in a bucket and demanded the kitchen cook it to their exact specifications. When told the restaurant only prepared food from their own menu and couldn't cook outside food due to health regulations, they became increasingly agitated. Eventually, they released the live lobster on the dining room floor, claiming that if the restaurant wouldn't cook it, they'd let it live there as a pet. The chaos of a loose lobster scuttling under tables and pinching ankles resulted in customers screaming and climbing onto chairs. Staff took 20 minutes to capture it, while the person filmed everything for social media. The lifetime ban came with a bill for damages, including broken dishes and compensation for disrupted meals. The letter specified that releasing creatures in dining rooms was grounds for permanent expulsion. 7. Someone earned a permanent ban from a library after they were discovered running an unauthorized business from a study room, conducting loud sales calls and client meetings in what was supposed to be quiet study space. When librarians asked them to stop, they argued that public libraries were taxpayer-funded, and they had every right to use them as free office space. They had set up a laptop, external monitor, portable printer, and phone charging station, essentially converting the study room into their personal headquarters. After multiple warnings and discovering they'd been doing this daily for 3 months, booking rooms under fake names, the library issued a lifetime ban. The letter mentioned complaints from dozens of students who couldn't access study rooms, and noted that commercial use violated terms of public access. 8. A customer was banned from a movie theater chain after they brought a full rotisserie chicken into a showing and ate it loudly during the film, complete with tearing meat off bones and audible chewing heard throughout the theater. When asked to stop by staff and other patrons, they argued that if the theater could sell popcorn, they could bring whatever food they wanted. The theater disagreed, especially after discovering they'd brought an entire meal with sides, including mashed potatoes and coleslaw spread across multiple seats. The permanent ban came after they returned the following week with an even larger meal including soup in a thermos, which they spilled on another patron. The ban letter specified that while outside snacks were sometimes tolerated, full restaurant meals that disrupted guests were unacceptable. 9. A museum visitor received a lifetime ban after they touched multiple priceless artifacts despite numerous "do not touch" signs, velvet ropes, glass barriers, and several direct warnings from staff. Their defense was being a hands-on learner who needed physical interaction to appreciate objects fully, and that visual-only experiences didn't work for their learning style. Museum security wasn't sympathetic after they'd set off alarms on 6 different exhibits, left fingerprints on a 500-year-old painting, requiring professional cleaning, and actually picked up a 2,000-year-old Potter piece they nearly dropped. The ban came with a bill for conservation work, including specialized cleaning costing $8,000. The letter suggested they visit hands-on children's museums instead. 10. Someone was permanently banned from a casino after they brought their emotional support peacock and let it roam freely on the gaming floor, claiming it was necessary for mental health and that denying access would violate disability laws. When security asked them to remove the bird, they threatened to sue for discrimination. The casino disagreed after the peacock flew onto gaming tables, knocked over drinks, scattered chips, defecated on a roulette table, and terrified patrons with loud calls and aggressive behavior. The bird's tail feathers kept hitting people, and it pecked at slot machines. The ban letter specified that only actual ADA-defined service animals were permitted, included federal regulation citations, security footage of destruction, and a bill for cleaning. Several guests had demanded refunds after their gambling was interrupted. 11. A retail customer earned a permanent ban from an electronics store after they opened every laptop on display to check if they were real by attempting to install their personal software, games, and files on demo models. When employees stopped them, they argued they were being thorough and the store should appreciate their diligence. The store was less understanding after discovering they'd spent 3 hours attempting downloads onto 20 different computers, had crashed several systems with malware, installed unauthorized software, and changed all passwords so other customers couldn't access displays. The ban came with demands for compensation for damaged computers and staff time required to restore systems. The letter explained that testing meant using pre-installed demo software, not converting displays into personal devices. 12. Someone was banned for life from a spa after they brought their entire family of 6 into a single-person massage room and demanded a group rate because they wanted to share the experience together. When told rooms were designed for individual clients and they'd need separate appointments, they argued family bonding was important and the spa should accommodate their budget. They became aggressive when staff explained one therapist couldn't massage 6 people simultaneously. The spa issued a permanent ban after they refused to leave, and their family started using facilities like their personal living room, with children running around and someone eating snacks on the massage table. Security had to remove them, and they damaged the table and used hundreds of dollars worth of products. The letter specified services were priced per person, not per room. 13. An aquarium visitor received a lifetime ban after they jumped into the touch tank to swim with the stingrays because they felt a spiritual connection and believed the barrier was unnecessary. Their explanation about always wanting to be a marine biologist didn't persuade management. Security footage showed them climbing over barriers, removing shoes, and jumping fully clothed into the shallow tank while families watched in shock. The stingrays were stressed, and the person had to be physically pulled out by security while protesting they were bonding with marine life. The ban came with citations for endangering animals, a bill for veterinary checks on all stingrays, and mention of potential criminal charges. The letter reminded them that touch tanks were for touching with hands only. 14. A customer was permanently banned from a furniture store after they moved into a display bedroom and refused to leave, essentially squatting in the showroom. When staff discovered them sleeping in the display bed at closing time, they claimed they were testing furniture thoroughly and needed to experience a full night's sleep. The store issued a lifetime ban after finding they'd been secretly living in the display room for 3 days, hiding in bathrooms at closing, then moving into the bedroom after hours. Staff discovered they'd been using bathroom facilities, eating takeout on expensive furniture, leaving grease stains on a $5,000 sofa, charging their phone, and had showered in the bathroom sink. The ban included a trespassing warning, cleaning bills, and notification that police had been informed. 15. Someone earned a permanent ban from a country club after they brought an inflatable pool and set it up on the golf course because they thought the property needed a water feature. When groundskeepers asked them to remove it, they argued they were improving landscape design for free. They had brought a pump, inflated a 12-foot pool on the 7th green, filled it with water from the irrigation system, and were lounging with drinks when found. The club issued a lifetime ban after discovering they'd also brought lawn chairs and a cooler and were charging golfers $5 for drinks. The inflatable pool had damaged the carefully maintained green. The ban included repair bills and mentioned they were lucky not to face criminal charges for property damage. 16. A bookstore customer was banned for life after they rearranged the entire fiction section according to their own organizational system because they didn't like alphabetical order by author. When staff asked them to stop, they insisted their system of organizing by emotional tone, then cover color, then page count was superior, and they were providing valuable service. The bookstore issued a permanent ban after finding they'd reorganized thousands of books over multiple visits spanning 2 weeks, creating chaos for customers trying to find anything and staff fulfilling online orders. Employees had been staying late trying to fix organization, not realizing someone was returning daily to reorganize everything. The letter specified that unauthorized reorganization cost hundreds of hours in labor and resulted in lost sales. 17. Someone was permanently banned from a fast food restaurant after they brought their own ingredients and tried to go behind the counter to make it the right way, because they didn't think employees were preparing orders correctly. When employees blocked them, they argued paying customers should have input into preparation. They had brought their own cheese, special sauce, and preferred pickles. The restaurant issued a lifetime ban after 3 attempts to enter the kitchen, despite repeated warnings that customers weren't allowed in food prep areas due to health codes and safety regulations. The 3rd attempt resulted in them pushing past an employee and reaching the grill before security removed them. The letter cited health department regulations and mentioned potential criminal charges. 18. A concert venue issued a permanent ban after someone brought professional lighting equipment and set up their own light show, interfering with the actual production. When security confiscated their equipment, they argued they were enhancing the experience because they thought the venue's lighting was boring. They had smuggled in spotlights, color filters, and a control board, setting up in the balcony where they operated a rival light show that kept blinding performers. The venue banned them after their lighting caused the show to stop mid-performance when a performer couldn't see. The band complained and several songs had to be restarted. The letter included equipment confiscation, a bill for disruption, and mentioned that interfering could result in criminal charges. 19. Someone received a lifetime ban from a pet store after they released all the birds from their cages because they believed animals should be free. When confronted about chaos of dozens of birds flying around and escaping through doors, they claimed to be an animal rights activist performing liberation. The store issued a permanent ban with a bill for birds that escaped, including several expensive parrots never recovered. The chaos lasted hours with staff and customers trying to recapture birds, while this person filmed for social media. The letter included costs of lost birds, merchandise damage from droppings, and mention of potential criminal charges for theft. It noted that if genuinely concerned about welfare, there were legal channels that didn't involve losing animals to outdoor predators. 20. A customer was permanently banned from a coffee shop after they brought their own espresso machine and started making drinks for other customers in the corner, essentially running a competing business. When staff asked them to stop, they argued they were sharing their coffee passion. The shop issued a lifetime ban after discovering they'd been charging customers less than shop prices and running a competing business for 2 weeks. They had business cards, a cash box, and regular customers who would come in, order nothing from the actual cafe, and buy from the unauthorized barista. The letter specified that operating a business inside another business was illegal, violated health codes, and basic ethics. It mentioned they were lucky the cafe wasn't pursuing legal action for lost revenue. 21. Someone earned a permanent ban from a bowling alley after they brought their own bowling ball that was actually a painted watermelon because they thought it would be funny content for social media. When the watermelon exploded on impact with pins, covering the lane in fruit pulp, seeds, and juice, they claimed it was a social experiment. The bowling alley issued a lifetime ban with a cleaning bill for the destroyed lane, requiring professional refinishing. The explosion splattered fruit across multiple lanes, damaged pin-setting machinery, and ruined other customers' games. Other bowlers had slipped in the juice. The letter specified bowling balls must be actual bowling balls, not produce, and that creating hazardous conditions could result in liability for injuries. 22. A park visitor was banned for life after they set up a full camping site with tent, campfire, and cooking equipment in a city park that didn't allow camping. When rangers told them to leave, they argued public parks should be available for all uses, and taxpayer money meant they could use it however they wanted. The Park Service issued a permanent ban after they returned multiple times with increasingly elaborate setups including furniture, a hammock system between trees, and a makeshift shower. They had essentially moved into the park. The final incident involved inviting friends for a camping party with music and a bonfire that got out of control. The letter cited fire safety violations and damage to park property. 23. Someone was permanently banned from a pharmacy after they repeatedly tried to go behind the counter to help organize medication because they didn't like the arrangement. When pharmacists stopped them, they claimed excellent organizational skills and were trying to help. The pharmacy issued a lifetime ban after the third attempt to access controlled substances, citing serious security and legal concerns. The pharmacy's license could be revoked for allowing unauthorized access to prescription medications. The letter explained pharmacy operations were heavily regulated by federal and state laws, that organizational preferences were irrelevant, and that attempting to access prescription areas could result in criminal charges. 24. A customer received a lifetime ban from a hair salon after they brought their own scissors and tried to cut other customers' hair while people waited. When staff intervened, they explained they were self-taught and wanted to practice. They had approached waiting customers and offered free haircuts. The salon banned them permanently after they'd actually started cutting someone's hair before stylists noticed. The person whose hair they'd started cutting had to get an emergency fix from a real stylist. The letter cited licensing laws, liability issues, and that practicing cosmetology without a license was illegal. It mentioned the victim was considering legal action. 25. Someone was banned for life from a swimming pool after they brought inflatable furniture and tried to create a floating living room in lap lanes. When lifeguards told them to remove it, they argued they were just relaxing. The pool issued a permanent ban after they repeatedly brought increasingly elaborate setups. The final incident involved a full floating entertainment center with waterproof speakers, cup holders, and ottomans taking up 3 lanes. Serious swimmers couldn't complete workouts, swim team practice was disrupted, and the furniture kept drifting into other swimmers. The letter specified lap lanes were for lap swimming, not floating furniture showrooms, and that setups posed safety hazards. 26. A restaurant patron earned a permanent ban after they brought their own chef to critique the kitchen's cooking techniques through the serving window. When management asked them to stop, they claimed they were helping the restaurant improve because they cared about culinary excellence. They had hired a chef, paid them to come to dinner, and positioned them near the kitchen, where they could observe every dish. The chef was calling out critiques like overcooked and poor plating, while customers tried to enjoy meals. The establishment issued a lifetime ban after their chef started yelling cooking advice into the kitchen, criticizing staff's knife skills and telling other diners their food was prepared incorrectly. The letter mentioned that concerns should have been addressed privately rather than creating hostile environments. 27. Someone was permanently banned from a department store after they decided to model clothes from racks and held an impromptu fashion show in aisles, complete with phone-playing music and recruiting shoppers to be their audience. When security asked them to stop, they claimed they were helping shoppers by showing how clothes looked on real people. The store issued a lifetime ban after they recruited other customers to participate, blocking aisles, disrupting shopping, and treating the store like Fashion Week. They had removed clothing from hangers, tried on multiple outfits without purchasing anything, and left clothes scattered throughout dressing rooms and sales floor. The letter specified that while customers could try clothes in fitting rooms, converting sales floors into fashion shows disrupted business. 28. A gym member received a lifetime ban after they converted a racquetball court into their personal meditation space by bringing candles, incense, sound system playing meditation music, and decorative tapestries they'd hung on walls. When staff asked them to return the court to normal use, they argued mental fitness was as important as physical fitness, and the gym should support holistic wellness. The gym issued a permanent ban after candles set off fire alarms evacuating the entire gym, disrupting hundreds of workouts. The incense triggered asthma attacks and allergy complaints throughout the facility, and they damaged walls hanging decorations. The letter specified racquetball courts were for racquetball, open flames were prohibited, and converting communal spaces violated policies and fire codes. 29. Someone was banned for life from a grocery store after they opened food packages throughout the store to create their own custom trail mix by combining ingredients. When employees stopped them, they claimed efficient shopping and wanting exactly what they wanted. They had opened bags of nuts, dried fruit, chocolate chips, granola, and coconut flakes, taking handfuls from each and combining them in their container. The store issued a permanent ban after finding they'd opened dozens of packages and tried purchasing their custom blend at the price of one item. They argued they should only pay for the weight of what they took. The letter explained opened packages couldn't be sold to other customers. They'd caused hundreds in losses, creating custom mixes violated health codes, and their actions constituted theft. 30. A customer earned a permanent ban from a craft store after they opened all the art supplies and started creating a mural on the store wall because they thought the blank wall needed decoration. When staff asked them to stop, they claimed they were providing free advertising by showing products in action. The store issued a lifetime ban with bills for repainting the wall and all supplies they'd used. They had created a large, elaborate mural using dozens of products including spray paint, markers, brushes, and stencils, none of which they'd paid for. The mural was skillfully done, but that didn't change that they'd vandalized property and opened hundreds of dollars worth of merchandise. The letter specified artistic expression needed appropriate surfaces with purchased materials. 31. Someone was permanently banned from a hotel pool after they brought a fishing rod and started fishing in the pool, claiming they were testing equipment and needed water to practice casting. When staff told them to stop, they argued it was water, so they should be allowed to fish. The hotel issued a lifetime ban after they returned with elaborate gear including tackle box, multiple rods, bait, and a folding chair. They had hooked several swimmers with errant casts and their fishing line tangled around pool equipment. The letter specified pools were for swimming. Their hooks had injured guests and their bait had contaminated water, requiring it to be drained and cleaned at considerable expense. 32. A customer received a lifetime ban from a bakery after they brought their own frosting and started redecorating display cakes because they thought original designs were boring. When bakers intervened, they explained they were an amateur decorator wanting to practice. They had brought multiple frosting colors and decorating tools and had redesigned 3 cakes before being noticed. The bakery issued a permanent ban after finding they'd frosted 6 display cakes with questionable designs, including misspelled words clashing colors, and crude decorations. Display cakes had to be completely remade, and several customers had ordered based on displays that no longer existed. The letter specified that tampering with food was a health code violation. 33. Someone was banned for life from a shoe store after they wore multiple pairs simultaneously to test them all at once for efficient comparison. When employees asked them to try one pair at a time, they argued their method was more efficient. They had put on 4 different shoes, different styles on each foot, plus another pair on their hands, claiming they needed to feel the materials. The store issued a permanent ban after they walked out wearing 4 shoes and tried returning them, all claiming none worked. They had stretched and damaged all pairs by wearing them improperly. The letter specified shoes should be tried 1 pair at a time, worn on feet only, and deliberately damaging merchandise was grounds for expulsion. 34. A restaurant patron earned a permanent ban after they brought their own tablecloth, candles, centerpiece, and framed photos to redecorate their table because the restaurant's ambiance didn't meet their standards. When servers asked them to remove items, they claimed they were creating romantic atmosphere for their date. They had pushed aside the restaurant's place settings and replaced everything. The restaurant issued a lifetime ban after they tried redecorating other diners' tables, approaching strangers and offering to improve their dining experience. They had redecorated 3 tables before staff stopped them. The letter explained the restaurant's ambiance was intentionally designed. Bringing outside decorations violated fire codes with open flames, and harassing other diners was unacceptable. 35. Someone was permanently banned from a laundromat after they washed car floor mats and machines, leaving them filthy with mud, oil, and debris. When the owner confronted them, they argued washing machines wash things and didn't see the problem. The laundromat issued a lifetime ban after discovering they'd also washed muddy boots, a bicycle with wheels removed, and automotive parts, leaving machines filthy and damaged. Multiple customers had complained about finding machines full of mud, oil, and mechanical debris. The letter specified laundromats were for clothing and linens, not automotive equipment. They'd damaged multiple machines requiring professional cleaning, and their actions violated health codes. 36. A customer received a lifetime ban from a theater after they brought a laser pointer and started highlighting their favorite parts of the play for other audience members. When ushers confiscated the laser, they claimed they were helping people understand performance nuances and wanted to enhance appreciation. The theater issued a permanent ban for disrupting the show and blinding several actors with the laser. Performers had stopped mid-scene multiple times because they couldn't see, and other audience members complained about the distraction. The letter mentioned interfering with live performances was grounds for removal. Laser pointers could permanently damage actors' eyesight, and if they wanted to discuss theater, they should attend talkback sessions. 37. Someone was banned for life from a garden center after they replanted all the flowers according to their own design because they thought the store's arrangement was wrong. When employees discovered this, they explained they were a landscaping enthusiast with strong opinions. They had spent hours rearranging hundreds of plants while staff helped other customers. The garden center issued a permanent ban after finding they'd rearranged hundreds of plants, mixing up price tags, care instructions, and inventory systems. Some delicate plants were damaged in the movie, and expensive specimens had been placed in inappropriate sun exposure. The letter explained rearranging inventory cost hours of labor and damaged plants that couldn't be sold. 38. A gym member earned a permanent ban after they brought a DJ booth and started hosting workout classes without permission, authorization, or fitness certifications. When management asked them to stop, they claimed they were motivating members and filling gaps in programming. The gym issued a lifetime ban after their unauthorized classes disrupted actual programming, with people showing up for unofficial classes instead of scheduled ones. They had taken over studio space, brought professional sound equipment, and were charging people separate fees to attend their boot camp classes. Official instructors couldn't use the space. The letter specified teaching required certification and gym authorization. Charging members additional fees was theft, and their equipment created trip hazards. 39. Someone was permanently banned from a movie rental store after they reorganized the entire store by their own genre system. When staff asked them to stop, they insisted their system was more logical than alphabetical. They had created categories like movies that make you think, Sunday afternoon movies, and films for when you're sad, with subcategories that seemed random. The store issued a lifetime ban after they'd reorganized thousands of movies over multiple visits and argued with employees about proper film categorization. Customers couldn't find anything, online orders couldn't be fulfilled, and staff had spent dozens of hours trying to restore original organization. The letter mentioned that unauthorized reorganization was destructive and costly. 40. A customer received a lifetime ban from a pet grooming salon after they brought their goldfish for grooming and became angry when told the salon only groomed dogs and cats. When they insisted fish needed grooming and the salon was discriminating, staff explained fish grooming wasn't a service that existed. The salon issued a permanent ban after they returned with increasingly exotic pets demanding services, including a hamster, turtle, snake, and eventually a tarantula. Each time they acted offended when told the salon couldn't accommodate their pet. The letter specified which animals the salon groomed and noted that bringing a tarantula caused panic among pets and customers. 41. Someone was banned for life from a hardware store after they assembled display furniture in the middle of aisles and started living room shopping by sitting on it for hours with friends. When employees asked them to move, they claimed they needed to properly test furniture. They had opened multiple furniture boxes, assembled a complete living room set blocking a main aisle, and brought friends to help test while eating lunch. The store issued a permanent ban after they brought more friends, and essentially threw a party, with people sitting on sofas and testing coffee tables. Other customers couldn't access the aisle and staff couldn't move merchandise. The letter specified display furniture was already assembled for testing. Blocking aisles violated fire codes, and converting the store into social gathering space was inappropriate. 42. A restaurant patron earned a permanent ban after they brought their own ingredients and tried to teach the chef how to cook their meal. When kitchen staff refused, they tried entering the kitchen to demonstrate techniques, pushing past servers and attempting to take over a cooking station. The restaurant issued a lifetime ban after 3 attempts to access the kitchen, despite security interventions. They had brought their own spices, cooking equipment, and printed recipes they wanted the chef to follow. The letter mentioned unauthorized kitchen entry violated health codes, interfering with operations during service endangered staff and customers, and their behavior suggested they should cook at home. 43. Someone was permanently banned from an office supply store after they used display computers to run their entire business, treating the store like a free co-working space. When employees asked them to leave, they argued the computers were there to be used. The store issued a lifetime ban after discovering they'd been conducting video conferences, printing business documents, sending emails, making phone calls, and taking client meetings from the display area for weeks. They had set up a workspace with multiple computers using the store's Wi-Fi and electricity, and had brought a briefcase and coffee mug. Other customers couldn't test computers. The letter specified displays were for brief testing, not operating a business, and extensive personal use prevented actual customers from evaluating products. 44. A customer received a lifetime ban from a sporting goods store after they tested camping tents by actually camping overnight in one, turning a product test into unauthorized overnight stay. When security discovered them sleeping in a display tent the next morning, complete with sleeping bag, pillow, and personal belongings, they claimed they were thoroughly testing the product and needed to experience a full night's sleep to evaluate comfort. The store issued a permanent ban with a trespassing warning. They had hidden at closing time, set up camp in a tent display, and spent the night eating snacks and using their phone. The letter explained product testing didn't include overnight stays, remaining after closing was criminal trespassing, and they were fortunate not to face charges. 45. And finally, there's the individual who got permanently banned from an entire mall after they set up a lemonade stand in the food court to compete with restaurants. When mall security shut down their operation, they argued entrepreneurship should be encouraged. The mall issued a lifetime ban after they returned multiple times with increasingly elaborate setups, eventually bringing a full barbecue grill, setting it up near the food court, and attempting to sell hot dogs and hamburgers to shoppers. They had created smoke throughout the food court, violated health codes by operating without permits, and were undercutting legitimate restaurants that paid rent. Security had to confiscate their grill after it set off fire alarms. Their ban letter specified that operating unauthorized businesses violated lease agreements with actual tenants. food service required health permits, and their entrepreneurial spirit should be directed toward locations allowing unlicensed vendors. It mentioned bringing barbecue grills indoors violated fire codes and endangered shoppers. What all these stories prove is that lifetime bans aren't given out lightly. Businesses generally want customers to return and spend money. Getting permanently banned requires a special combination of poor judgment, stubbornness, and complete disregard for rules that most people follow without even thinking about them. These individuals discovered that there's a significant difference between being a difficult customer and being someone who creates problems so extreme that no amount of potential profit could justify tolerating their presence ever again. They found the exact line where businesses collectively decide, we'd literally rather never see you again than deal with whatever chaos you'll create next time. The lesson here isn't complicated. Most places are actually pretty accommodating. If you follow basic social rules, respect boundaries, and don't treat businesses like they exist solely for your personal entertainment or convenience at everyone else's expense. When you get permanently banned, you've usually worked quite hard to earn that distinction through repeated boundary violations and an impressive refusal to understand why your behavior might be problematic. These people didn't just cross lines. They sprinted across them repeatedly while arguing the lines shouldn't exist in the first place. If you've never received a lifetime ban from anywhere, congratulations on successfully operating at the baseline level of acceptable human behavior that allows society to function smoothly. These folks set the bar so low it's practically underground, then grabbed a shovel and kept digging. Hit subscribe if you enjoy stories about people who turned ordinary outings into permanent exile, and remember, if you find yourself thinking, I wonder if they'd let me do this incredibly weird thing, the answer is almost certainly no, and you definitely shouldn't test that theory because businesses have very limited patience for people testing the boundaries of acceptable behavior.